Hello and welcome to another episode of Talksicology, brought to you by Recovery Unplugged. Here at Talksicology, we talk all things addiction, recovery, and mental health. Tonight's guest, founder of Comeback Recovery, Tony Trevino. I'm your co-host, Jason Cabello, and as always, your host and mine, Joseph Gorordo. I so pale.
What?
I said I so pale.
Oh, you're so pale.
Yeah.
Oh no, I got the ring light, which gives me this artificial glow.
Love the ring light.
Jason, how you doing, man?
I'm good. Welcome to the show, everyone. Welcome, Joseph. Good to see you.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. I honestly, I'm a little frazzled.
Okay.
Been a busy week.
Talk
a lot of
about
highs and lows, and we had some changes at work that impacted me, and I had a good friend of mine get honest with me about a relapse and having just gotten out of detox, which isn't about me, but still.
Right, but it affects you.
Yeah. So I had that, and then
I don't want you to. Well, I don't. I don't want you to steal your own thunder while I have the chance to. Joseph is running for office, ladies and gentlemen.
I am running for office. I am running for a Jesus Christ.
School board? Student council?
Yeah, I almost said student council. Exactly. I'm running for the school board where I live at in the school district that my kids go to. And, it's a lot, y'all. Like, you think like a little local campaign is not a big deal, but it's really cool. I think with the addiction epidemic, pandemic, whatever you want to call it, with the opioids, with the amount of stories I see in the news every day of like young kids dying, and overdosing. I think having somebody with an understanding of mental health and substance abuse, helping to guide in some way the district's policy.
Yeah.
It can only be a good thing, right?
Yes. That is, we're going to do some smear campaigns against your opposition. I can't wait. I've always wanted to do a smear campaign video. It's always been just something I've wanted to do. And even if you don't okay it, I'm going to do it. I'm just going to find out who your opposition is, find out some dirt on them. Maybe they skimmed a little money from a school bake sale. Maybe, who knows?
Well, the good thing is, being in recovery and being so public about it, right? My dirt is out there.
Right. Yeah.
It is arguably my greatest asset.
I agree. Because, totally. It's going to work in your favor. I don't know if my vote counts for that election, but
you don't live in Williamson County, unfortunately.
Well, if you don't win, I am going to spearhead the election was rigged movement.
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that. We're not even going to get into that.
I wasn't asking permission. I was just stating a fact. But, talking about helping kids, wanting to help kids with addiction, Joseph and I, we actually got to see each other in person and do a really cool interview yesterday with somebody who Joseph knows. You want to tell us a little bit about that?
My mother just texted me and said, "What? You're running for school board?"
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. We break the big stories here at Talksicology.
Sorry, Mom, I didn't even know you listened. So we got to hang out yesterday, and we got to go interview a good friend of mine, Danny Koch, who is a person in recovery who came from a church background and got to have a whole experience around like having faith and bringing that into their recovery. And it was a really unique story that I don't think we get to hear that often. So I thought it was a great it was a good thing.
It was very positive. It was very, it opened my eyes to a lot of things. And
I was about to say, I think it was eye-opening for you.
It really was. And I had never been to a mega church before. And that was an actual mega church.
It's a big church.
I don't know
Very
how
big
to
church.
I don't know how to eye acreage behind the scenes. Greg, I'm sure can just like look at it and be like, yeah, 13 acres here. But I don't know how many acres this property is on. Huge, like righteous gemstones style, huge church. I'm just like, how much money does this church pay in taxes? Like, I can't even wrap my head about how much
Well,
money
I
they
mean,
must
the
pay in
answer
taxes.
is zero, right? Don't churches don't get taxed?
Really? Somebody should
Yeah.
look into that. I set you up for that one. I'm just kidding. But no, but I was really, it opened my eyes just because she was so, non-judgmental about the whole thing. Her father, who runs the church, who is a
Yeah.
pastor, who
Yeah,
you would
Pastor
think would
Rob.
be sort of fire and brimstone type stuff. In her story, she was talking about her father was just like, you need to go to treatment. We need to take care of this. We love you, and not like you have to. Like it was
Yeah.
just. It turned out to be a really sweet story, and it
Yeah,
changed my
you
opinion.
were probably expecting some sort of like you're living in sin kind of
Yeah, I
thing or
really
something.
was,
No.
and because she said something about really not liking religion, she actually was a little bit more colorful about the way she put not liking religion because that's not the way that Jesus Christ taught things. That he was in there with the people who were, the ne'er do wells and
Yeah.
the outsiders, and those were
Yeah.
his people. So, it was refreshing. It really was.
Back in the day when I was, had like my punk rock denim vest with all the pins and patches, I actually
Right.
had a pin that said Jesus was a homeless guy who hung out with 12 thugs and a prostitute.
That was all on a little pin. It said all that.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
True though. I don't know if it's true, but that's as the story goes. That's what it's. That's what it was.
Man, I
But
think we're really brushing on some very controversial topics tonight, Jason. We've
we,
gotten
we
into election engineering and religion.
hey man,
But
But speaking of opinions being changed, if you
yeah,
had not tuned in last week, Austin McNeil Brown, friend of yours, longtime friend of yours, you got sober together, was on here, and his official title was recovery scientist. I think that's what
yes,
we all
recovery
agreed on,
scientist.
and talked about the importance of how the words that you say when you talk about addiction,
Yes,
substance use disorder, what you say. I was going in kind of looking for like, a lot of counterpoint. I'll just say that a lot of
You were
counter.
ready to start some arguments.
I was ready. I was ready to, but the way he put it, it really, really changed the way that I look at things. And I've been taking a look at myself, and I love that. That's a huge part of recovery is knowing that I'm still teachable. Everything I always say this when I speak. When I had a year clean and was a tech and knew everything, I'm glad that wasn't like where I peaked. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like I keep learning, and I actually got to practice because we went to a 4th of July party. Some friends invited us to a 4th of July party. All
America.
normies. Everybody was a normie there, and I'm like, I don't have to. I could say that I'm in recovery when somebody offers me a drink, but I don't have to go. I don't have to tell them like shooting up toilet water stories and all this stuff. Like say like I'm in recovery, and yeah, and it's like attraction, not promotion thing, right? You want to tell people. So I am very open about telling people that I am in recovery. I was addicted to heroin and crack, and it's possible to do these things and then to find a way out. So
I think about that sometimes. Like, you don't always got to say, by the way, it was intravenous heroin, right?
add a little panache to it.
Yeah, not always super necessary. I've been learning that myself recently.
Right. But I mean, sometimes you do want to just say like, this is because I wasn't just a guy who took too many prescription pills. I wasn't somebody who had one drink too many and then got a DUI and decided to get help. Like I was
But I think one of the things that I have to think about is motive, right? Like,
correct.
do I want to tell you this to kind of shock you and blow you away a little bit, or
there
am
a
I
need
sharing this
for
with you so that you know how, like, the depths from which someone can come back?
Right. And and it's like I'll let people ask now. I'll think about that a little bit more. Like I'll tell them if they want to know more, I'll be open about it. And I think that's where my head's at now.
Yeah.
So speaking of being open about things,
Yeah.
tonight's guest is a good friend of the show, Tony Trevino. Greg, do you have that clip set up? The clip that Tony did with us from a while back?
Hey, what's up? I'm Tony Trevino. Check me out, tony-trevino.com. My story, I can sum it up in numbers. 16 years active addiction, 6 trips to rehab, 5 overdoses, 4 DWIs, 3 trips to the Texas State Penitentiary, and 1 moment of clarity, dude. That's all it took, and now I'm over 5 years sober. Today, I am a recovery coach. I'm a personal trainer. I teach fundamentals of Muay Thai, trying to help people in early recovery find that thing that ties it all together. Martial arts, just like recovery, is mind, body, spirit. It's a holistic approach to being the best human being you can be. So yeah, I'm a happy person today, man.
Yeah, so that was a video that we did for Tony for Recovery Unplugged back a couple years ago. And you know what? Let's just bring Tony out, and we'll get right to it.
Tony,
my
Hello,
man,
gentlemen. How are you doing?
Good, well,
doing
Tony.
all right, man. Welcome to the show. I told you before, but I gotta tell you again on camera for the world to see. Right? It's like I had such respect for you today, and those of you listening, you'll hear why in just a second. But such respect, man. Like such courage. What a great example of lots of things. But I don't want to be like spoiler over here. But super excited to talk today.
I am super excited to even be on here with you guys. I've known both of y'all for a few years or whatever, but our Recovery Unplugged was where I started, my journey in treatment, and just everyone over there has always felt like family to me. So very, very grateful to be on here today and to, have this platform to talk about some serious things and hopefully help some people in the process.
Yeah. So yeah, let's just so what happened a couple months ago, man? Like,
so hi mom.
Hey, Mom.
After about a little over 6 years of sobriety, I relapsed, and it's something that I never thought I would have to deal with again. I struggled to get sober for the better part of a decade. I was a chronic relapser. And when I finally got it this last time, I rested on my laurels, so to speak. And being a recovery coach, I'm immersed in recovery all day, every day. And I made a simple mistake of making my job my recovery, and that's not helpful at all. But yeah, there were a lot of factors that went into it. I had recently had surgery and was out. Training and working out is a huge part of my recovery. It's actually our unique selling point at Comeback Recovery. We like to focus on the physical aspect of the mind, body, spirit. So that was difficult for me. I was also engaged, and we weren't doing really well, hadn't been doing well for a while. And, just the stress of being a small business owner, it was just all of those things together. But, once I went to treatment and got out and started looking at it, I realized the real reason is because I stopped working a program.
yeah.
I firmly believe that had I been working a solid program, those 3 things could have still happened and I would have been okay.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm a big book guy, in my personal recovery, and I think you are too. The big book talks about, we can go anywhere and do anything that a normal man could, as long as we're spiritually fit.
Absolutely. Yep. So, yeah.
So let's talk about it.
Yeah.
What was, because if you don't know, people out there listening, they always say a relapse happens way before you actually pick up that first substance, whatever it is.
Yep.
And you weren't working a program, you were going through some shit, because you and I, for a while, we were talking every single day for, every day. And we would meet up for coffee a few times a week. And then, we hung out quite a bit. But, being an adult, sometimes you hang out with people every day for a while and then you don't. And, you assume that everything's good, and then you told me a couple days ago, what had happened. Of course, rumor mills in recovery. Of course, I had heard things before that, but
Of course.
I wanted you to tell me before we talked about it. So when you told me, my mind just went to what was that moment where you just said "fuck it,"
Yeah. And that's really what it was. It happened so fast. Like, I don't want to say that that it just sprang up on me, because you're absolutely right. That relapse started months before I put drugs into my body. Um, and it was obvious to everyone but me. I had some really good friends, my business partner, Andrew Workman, and, a couple of people over at Recovery Unplugged who are part of my support network, sat me down, had a heart to heart with me about how I wasn't showing up the way that I used to, and it was obvious that my focus had shifted.
Right.
When I started coaching, obviously it was about helping people, and that is something that I believe is a calling for me. I couldn't figure out while I was in active addiction, I could not figure out why my higher power wouldn't just take me, and, once I got sober, I realized it's because I needed those negative experiences to help people moving forward, to hopefully, you know, help them avoid going through the misery that I had to go through. But
So what was your response? Sorry to interrupt, but
no,
what
you're
was
good.
your response when all those people sat you down? We used to call it getting jammed up. When a group of people that has some spiritual license with you sits you down and says, "We think you're messing up." Like what what was your response like internally, and what did you say to them?
It was eye opening for me, and I took it to heart, and I felt like I was making changes, but I wasn't making the necessary changes. I I was very grateful that they were willing to do that, because nobody wants to have an awkward conversation, especially with somebody that they're close to.
Right.
So
Yeah.
it really, I mean, I guess I felt it, but having other people voice that to me, it really hit home. And I think from that moment forward, um, the fear of relapse was in the back of my head. But as many addicts are able to compartmentalize and put things in their little boxes,
Oh
I just shoved it away and pretended like it wasn't an issue, and just tried to plug ahead forward, and that just wasn't the right thing to do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got a buddy that says, when we talk about compartmentalizing, right? Because we do it in our active addiction, don't we? Right? Like, you know, if I only shoot up 4 times a day, that's really only like an hour a day that's dedicated to this, and it doesn't impact all these other things, right?
It's
But he always
manageable.
said, yeah, it's manageable. But he would always say, there's only one, for like a lot of different things, right? But like in this case, it's like, oh, I packaged this fear up, what you're saying, and I put it over here, but there's still just one Tony, right?
Hmm.
That
Yeah.
you're still carrying it around. Anyway, sorry.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. No, that's pretty much what happened. I definitely took what my support network had to say to heart. I think I was further gone than I thought I was, but yeah, I was absolutely a relapse looking for drugs by the time it happened.
Yeah. And so what was the first let's say the first
Yeah.
2 hours that led up to your relapse?
Let's go to ground zero.
Yeah. Okay. So I was living in San Antonio at the time, and I would come up to Austin to do sessions with clients. And on Tuesdays we had this sober softball team that we used to all play on. Shout out to Big Unit. But so I had done a session earlier in the day and had like 7 hours to kill until our softball game that night, and I was staying in a hotel room, which for the 6 years prior to that was never an issue. I kind of liked hotel rooms from just being on the road. Yeah. You can kind of be a little sloppy, and somebody will come in and make your bed for you and
Put on forensic files in the background and just chill out all day.
Exactly.
No. HGTV for me, man.
Is that for you? Okay.
But yeah, so I think it was just a culmination of all the things that I was talking about earlier. And it was a fuck it moment. But what was crazy to me is I had gone and scored the dope and gone back to the hotel room. And before it was even in my body, I was vomiting in the toilet.
Oh yeah.
It's like my body was screaming, "No, don't do this."
Heart pounding, sweating already. Like,
yeah, it's like, go ahead.
So I mean, for the benefit of listeners, who may be in this process or have experienced it or are trying to watch out for it, like, I would like if you could clarify a little bit or be more specific about, when your friends tell you like I wasn't showing up the way that that you weren't showing up, and like I think we all kind of like draw our own conclusions there, but like what specifically was going sideways?
Well, my focus had shifted from the primary purpose, which was to help people, and it became more about the financial aspect of it. I started chasing the money instead of chasing, the recovery and helping people genuinely. And with that kind of mindset, I don't think I was really worth a shit for my clients. Like I wasn't the motivator. I wasn't the truth teller. I wasn't the role model for these guys. Yeah. And but yeah, that's it just was not good.
Yeah. Well, and like knowing you and knowing your story, like I think that for you, right, in your recovery, being of service was like a big piece of the foundation that everything else was built on, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right, thank you for that.
Where my head goes is 6 years in recovery. Once you decided that you wanted to get dope, how long did it take you to find it?
It was relatively quick. I had many years of experience of being in new cities and still finding, the drug of choice. And I just reverted back to old skills that I had perfected in the day. And it was relatively easy, as it tends to be these days.
So you went straight for the hard stuff. Wasn't a sip of, wasn't a Zima or something first. You went straight.
Zimas, yeah.
You were just like, where is there the most concentration of pawn shops?
Right.
I'm going there.
No, I was telling somebody the other day, when you fall downhill, it's kind of like a 45-degree angle, but I stepped off a ledge. They say, you pick right back up where you left off. And that was so true for me. And, I was out for less than a week, in a matter of days, I narrowly escaped going to jail twice, and I totaled my vehicle in a very serious accident and walked away without a scratch. I probably had a concussion, but I'm used to those. But yeah, it's scary, and it was all of the misery that I remembered and nothing positive. You know, there was
Instantly. There wasn't no
You didn't get a
euphoria.
moment of like, oh my god,
I
so
missed
good.
you.
Oh yeah, for sure. In probably for the first 2 minutes, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But everything that I had built in my life in the past 6 years, all of the things that I have been so grateful for, like relationships that have been mended, and being able to earn a living and be a provider, like all of the important things at the time were, it's like I could, in my mind's eye, I could just see them disintegrating, and I messed up a lot of things with this relapse, and God knows how much more I would have lost had it gone on.
Did you try to hide it at all? Like, did you go show up to softball later that day? Like,
That was the
that?
plan, but by the time softball came, I mean, even in my drug-addled state, I could look in the mirror and say, yeah, it's probably not a good idea. By that time, the addiction had definitely taken over, and I continued to stay in hotel rooms for about 4 days, and thank God for my ex fiance and her friend, and Andrew Workman. They hunted me down, and they were able to convince the hotel clerk to give them a key to my room.
Oh.
Yeah, and so when they walked in, I had been on a run for a few days, right? So I was crashed. I was in bed, and I just remember them sitting around the bed, and us having a heart to heart, and that's where the seed pretty much was planted, that okay, let's end this now before I burn everything to the ground. And it took a few days to find somewhere to go, but several people had said to me that they were shocked that I was willing to go so quickly.
Yeah.
Like in the past, it's like you got to hunt me down. Like once I'm out there, it's go time. All bets are off.
I mean, yeah, you already.
Go ahead, Jason.
I was just gonna say you already wrecked his car, so it's not like you were driving anywhere fast. They would have just had to follow you on foot.
Yeah, Uber.
Uber. There you go. So I actually was talking to a friend of mine today about how when I was in my addiction, right, like I would get out of treatment, I would relapse, and I was off to the races for about 6 months before I was ready to think about recovery again. And I think, but I think that at the time, right, I never built anything up. You know what I mean? So like staying out didn't mean I was going to lose more, right? There was nothing to lose.
Right.
And so I really admire what they were just saying, right? Is that, that you were within, 4 or 5 days, we're like, okay, this is not for me.
Yeah, I think narrowly escaping a 5th DWI and escaping a drug charge and walking away from that serious accident, like even as intoxicated and as far gone as I was at that moment, I said to myself, you have to be an idiot if you're not going to look at these signs. Like it was just my higher power was giving me sign after sign after sign. And, just I'm so grateful that it was short lived, and that I'm still here.
I'm grateful that you didn't have to resort to a life of crime, because Tony was the worst criminal, I think,
Like,
in
not good at it?
U.S. history. Tell really quick about your
I got you. I got you. So this is definitely going in the book one day, but it's ridiculous. So I had gotten out of treatment. It was my 3rd treatment, and my dad had been generous enough to buy me a vehicle so that I could get around and get a job and continue trying to put my life back together. So we bought this truck from a mom and pop dealership, and he gave me the car and gave me some cash, and I immediately drove to the dope house and spent all my money and thought it would be my dad had paid cash for the vehicle. So I thought it'd be a great idea to go back to that dealership and break in and take the cash, not even thinking they probably deposit that stuff at the end of the business day. Right.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I ended up breaking in. I threw a rock through the window, jumped through the window, cut myself up. There's blood everywhere. I was on a lot of Xanax and heroin at the time, so it's a little foggy, but I just remember destroying the office trying to find that money. And something spooked me so bad that I took off running to my apartment and left the truck that was purchased from that dealership still at that dealership. By the time I got
tough case to crack.
well,
Yeah.
this is the kicker. By the time I got to my apartment, the police pulled up. They got there about the same time I did, and they walked up and they were like, "Mr. Trevino." I'm like, "How do they know my name?" They're like, "Yeah, you dropped your wallet with your ID back there at the dealership." So yeah.
So one thing I got to point out, and we have to do this from time to time on our show, is that we're laughing and we're talking about something really serious, right? Because I mean, we all know, right, with the way things are going in the drug world with the fentanyl, right? Like, you very well could have died on that first dose, right?
Absolutely.
And that's a reality.
Mm-hmm.
But I think we got to reaffirm that, like, we laugh and we smile because we have a solution, right?
Right.
We're all on borrowed time that we did not earn,
Right.
or at least I know I didn't earn the life I have today. And
good
I
point.
do have to say, like, it makes me really happy seeing, like, your energy and your smile, knowing how quickly, when you start doing the work, how quickly things can get better, and not out here, right? But like internally, like, you
Right.
have this energy of like, I'm okay and I can own this and I know who I am. And
Absolutely.
I think that's really beautiful.
Yeah, thank you so much, Joseph, for saying that. Yeah, it really is the lightheartedness of it is just extreme gratitude. I know I should not be here several times over, and as hard as it was for me to start telling people about the relapse and just get out there and own it. It was really difficult. It was, every day felt like, I felt like my life was in a million little pieces, and every day I felt like I was just trying to pick up as many pieces as I could. I finally got to the point recently where I'm okay with it. I'm okay with the relapse happening. There's a part of me that is glad that it happened because it really got my attention and helped me focus on the things that I needed to change. And they were major changes in my life.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know, man. I'm just full of gratitude. And I think that's probably what the energy is,
Yeah. I feel it, man. So let's, to keep going through kind of like the chain of events, right?
Sure.
You decided to go back to treatment, which I know a lot of people who have time under their belt don't want to do, right? I'm sure both of you guys know folks who are like, look, I just need a detox, and I know what I got to do.
I know what I got to do.
You went to like treatment.
Treatment. Yeah, absolutely.
So what was that like? What was your experience being back in there? Was it difficult? Was it different from the last time?
I have to tell you, man, like, I was happy to be there. I wanted to go. I wanted to go so badly that, my Andrew and my ex-fiance at the time, all three of us spent, I think 2 days straight trying to get into a treatment center, but there were no beds, or, places wouldn't take my insurance. But I wanted help so badly that we went to 2 separate mental institutions, and one of them, the doors weren't even open, and the other one, they didn't have any spots available. So I just went to the ER. because I was in extreme psychosis at the time, and they helped me as much as they could. And when I was released, by the time I was released, my support network had secured a spot for me. And once the psychosis had subsided and I was thinking clearly again, it really wasn't that hard. I wanted it so badly.
Yeah.
And I was so afraid that I was going to burn everything to the ground while I was out there that I knew that it was just, there was nowhere to go but up from there.
Yeah. So
you go ahead, Jason.
I was going to say, how difficult was it to reach out to the people who you're helping, the people who you coach? And
Yeah, that was difficult. And, thankfully, I have a great team around me, great team of coaches. Shout out to Richard Wall and Brett
Rich is the
Mayers.
man. We love Richie.
we love those guys.
When I started comeback recovery, I told myself I want to surround myself with people that are as good, if not better than me. And I truly believe everyone at comeback is better than I am at their jobs, And so I don't know.
To be fair, Richie's better than most people.
Richie's great. So those of you who don't know, Richie and Brett, they are members of the band Nolo. Who we're all very, very close with, and outside of being a band who's on the brink of making it pretty big, and I believe they are just
huge.
awesome powerhouses and recovery coaches, and just all around good guys. So I'm so glad those guys were close to you, and
absolutely. But
Jackie. And everybody who just helped you out, and just very grateful that everybody was there to help you find the help that you needed.
Right. Yeah. And to just answer your question real quick, I had actually even called the parent of one of my clients on my way to treatment to let them know what was going on, because I didn't want to just disappear. I wanted to, I brought up the other coaches with comeback because, they stepped in, they stepped up, they took care of everything while I was gone. And, but yeah, it was difficult. It was like making an amends in the aspect that I expected a negative response, and what I got was, well, good for you. Thank God you're going to get help, and just focus on yourself and get better. And when you get out, we can pick back up. So very grateful.
What a dose of humility, right?
I needed that too. I needed to be humbled badly.
Right.
My ego had always taken me out, and I had done a great job, I feel like, of keeping that thing in check until probably 3 or 4 months before the relapse. Again, my ego is not my amigo.
Yeah,
man.
But knowing you as well as I do, Tony, like I wouldn't say ego in the sense that you're like an egotistical, guy. You don't strike. You're not an egotistical guy. You know what I mean? You don't act like that. Or I think your ego would be like, I don't need to do this for myself. I'm helping other people, and that in turn helps me. But when you're doing it for a living, it takes a different. You know what I mean? There's a different. It's not as much service. It's career based, and I think as much as you try to do that, and I know I do the same thing, is that it doesn't feel the same. It doesn't fill that thing that needs to be filled by helping other people when you get a paycheck for it,
Right. Yeah, well, because you can do things that make you feel good at work when you work in addiction, right? Like, but it's not service, right? And
Absolutely.
The big book and the basic text both talk about like, this is an altruistic thing, and we do it for free and for fun. And this story, this piece of it, right? Like working in the field and making your work your recovery. We've all heard it before, So, so those of y'all who are wondering, if you work in recovery, that does not count as your personal recovery.
Even if you manage a sober house.
Well, especially if you manage a sober house. no, okay, I'll just leave it at that. Yeah.
Like I'm thinking about like if I had to go back to treatment right now, right? How did you stop yourself from trying to be the rehab smoking section counselor? You know what I mean? Like telling everybody what's what and arguing with the therapist. Like was that a challenge for you at all? Like was it something that came up?
I feel like I would say no on that one. I did find myself helping a lot of my peers while I was there. My one of my roommates told me when I left, they do the coin out when you leave and say all these nice things about you. And the thing he said that stuck with me was, you kept me here when I wanted to leave, and I felt like I was getting help outside of group and outside of my therapy sessions. So I feel like, again, it goes back to intentions, right? Like I wasn't there to be a rehab rock star. I wasn't there to be, Mr. Know-It-All or, some big wig in any sense. I was truly back to wanting to get better and wanting to watch other people get better too.
Yeah. That's awesome.
So, yeah.
Good stuff.
Okay, I can keep going if you don't want to.
Yeah, no, yeah. It was a Mexican standoff.
Can I ask you
literally?
Go for it. No,
I'm just kidding.
So there's something that I want to touch on because last week we had our guest who talked about stigma, right, and relapse, and the language around it, and how we should be using the terms recurrence of use when we're in professional settings, but we're kind of informal here.
Yeah.
But Jason kind of alluded to it at the beginning, when he was like, oh, recovery, people talking or whatever. This week, when we posted, like, Tony Trevino is going to be our guest. We didn't put any context on it, right? We didn't put like the title of the show at first or anything like that. And I mean, Jason, like within 5 minutes,
people were talking.
We were getting texts.
Yeah.
Like, did you know that Tony relapsed?
Yeah.
But
like, that's a good thing though, because to me that says no one's untouchable.
Right.
Yeah.
Anyone at any day can slip.
Yeah, and there's something that I learned a while back, especially I don't know if this is specific to where I was, and I don't know if it's anywhere in any literature or not, but in the groups that I would run in, if somebody relapsed, just because there were so many newcomers in and out all the time, and you knew that somebody relapsed, you should let people know if this person is around, because then this person can potentially put other people's recovery at risk. And not a rumor mill, not like just stating a fact, like this person is using again.
Right.
And it's kind of a tricky thing because it's like, if they're in your tight circle, you know what I mean? If like one of my sponsee brothers or something relapses, in my group text with my sponsor, they'll say like, so-and-so went out, let's hope the best for them.
But see, I think, I know that what I've seen, not from you specific, maybe you had this experience, but with a lot of people that I've talked to who've had time that have gone out, one of the biggest fears keeping them out is what are all the recovery people going to say about me?
Yeah.
Which is like a stigma that I think we need to own as like a recovery community, right? Is that there are times that the community is real shitty to people who go back out sometimes. So, I mean, how much was that a fear for you? If so, how much?
It was huge for me. Just even working in the field, being a recovery coach, it's like if I can't hold it together and I can't maintain recovery and sobriety, how am I supposed to help someone else do that? You know what I mean? Yeah. I will say, we've said rumor mill a bunch in this podcast, and a lot of the rumors were getting back to me, and that it hurt. It was real difficult for me because I felt like, I had done what I needed to do to get back up, because I'd fallen and I'd done what I needed to do to get back up. And I felt like there were, some people that wanted to see me stay down. And, that's just the nature of the beast. But, I think time heals all. And I know that if I just keep doing the next right thing, and the next right thing's going to happen. That's what kept me sober for 6 years. And that's
Yeah.
what's going to keep me sober now.
And there's
Do
something.
you want to name some of the people who?
I only know two, Jason and Joseph.
No, but there is something to be said about people who are publicly in recovery, that
Right.
when they relapse and want to do it privately, you don't get that option. You know
Right.
what I mean? It's
Right.
like and that's why, like, the second that you told me, like, when me and Tony were texting back and forth the other day, and he came out and told me that he had relapsed and this and that, and we just, and he was like, I'm being open about it, and I was like, you think you might want to, if you want to come on and talk about it, like, because I know that a ton of people out here, you know what I mean? Everybody knows Tony, and do you feel liberated being able to publicly talk about this?
So much so, I feel like, I mean, liberated, sure, but it's really important for me to own it, not because I'm trying to quell rumors or anything like that. It's important for me to own it because I know things could have gone a lot different for me,
Yeah.
and I just want, if you've had some time and you've relapsed and you're out there, like, please don't let embarrassment or shame keep you out there, because, like, I very well could have died on this relapse. And I want to use it, just like with all the other negative stuff that happened in my past. I want to use this for positive things and to try to help people. Like, the stigma was a huge issue for me. And but yeah, so thank you, Jason and Joseph, too, for having me on. I can't express, when Jason suggested it. Yeah, we were texting. Thankfully, he couldn't see me crying.
I knew you were crying. I know Tony cries all the time.
I'm a big crier, man. But
You're crying?
I'm a crier.
Do you want to see it?
Don't talk about my mom.
I was going to say, Tony, what was it like when you had to tell your mom that you relapsed?
Let's talk about that. Yeah.
Yeah, no, seriously.
It was very difficult. I'm a mama's boy. Always have been. I'm proud of that. My mom has been through hell and back with me. And there was a point in my life where no one was around anymore. I had burnt every bridge and she was the only one in my corner, but having to tell her and knowing that it would be hugely disappointing, but more so, I didn't want her going back to worrying herself sick. One of the greatest things about getting sober for me was, I made an amends to her, and she basically said, thank you for giving me my life back. I don't have to, I'm able to sleep, and I know that you're okay. And, I can focus on myself now instead of managing your entire life.
Yeah.
But it was difficult. And, to her credit, she was strong, and she was able. You did it.
Did
it. Yeah, she's amazing, man. And, I owe my life to her. And yeah.
You son of a bitch, you're going to make me do it too now.
But yeah, man, I don't know. I'm just.
It makes me real happy that, like, enough about us that this is the place that you felt comfortable coming and doing this.
Yeah, man,
you
we
know?
appreciate that.
That, you know, because like we believe in grace and second chances and forgiveness, and so like thank you.
And yeah, just and it's so important to know that if you've never gotten clean and sober, whatever you want to call it, if you've never had recovery, or if you've had multiple years of recovery and then relapse and just don't feel like you come back, like that's what we celebrate here. Like we celebrate, this, like being honest, saying like I fucked up, I wasn't doing what I was supposed to do. I'm not immune to this thing getting me again, and, seeing you go through this is going to make me work a little bit harder on myself. And, it's a cautionary tale, and just so grateful that you made it back.
Oh my gosh. Yeah. That's the first thing you said to me, I think, when I let you know is I'm glad you're back.
Yeah. And as simple as that, that's what I always say when somebody like, I'm glad you're back. And I really, really am. And, this is going to make a great documentary someday.
Hint, hint.
So Tony, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't know if you're reading any of the comments, man, but you got some solid comments on here. We got Zadie said, strong supportive mamas are a truly special piece of the world. So like real quick, like shout out to all the moms who've ever had to deal with their children in addiction.
Thank you, Mom.
Including Nancy and my mom.
Nice.
Who we know now listens. Your mom had to chime in.
Now we know she listens. Yeah. News to me. And also Davy Jones, Greg, if you can pull his comment back up too. It says, the people that really loved me were the people I was too afraid to ask for help. P.S. I love you knuckleheads for doing what you do.
We love you, Davy Jones.
Yeah. And Tony, just so you know, that's love from Alaska, bro.
Alaska. Yeah. Actually, he commented on one of the episodes that I was watching, and we continued to talk back and forth on Facebook afterwards.
Oh, cool. Davy's my homie, man. Me and Davey have been through some shit. Yeah, he tried to get me to some of my first meetings. We used to work together in Miami nightclubs. That's for another conversation. But yeah, man, me and Davey are good friends, man. I love Davey.
Yeah, that's awesome. Another cool thing for you, Tony. Like, those 6 years you had, like all the people whose lives that you impacted, and put some positivity into, like that didn't go away. You know what I mean? Like
right.
your karma is still in the plus column.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, man. And
you get to go back to doing that.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm super excited for it. I feel like I'm on some kind of pink cloud a little bit, but I do know that there's hope, and I'm grateful for it. Just so grateful.
And I mean, the name of your fucking company is Comeback Recovery. I mean, come on, like it's
are you
like
gonna change the name to like Come Back, or Come Back Again Recovery?
Come back and keep coming back recovery.
Keep coming back recovery. All right.
Awesome.
I think we should talk about some music.
Yeah. Let's. We don't want to do it at the beginning of the show because we knew it was going to be a little heavy. But
we got a spinny wheel, Greg.
There once was a wheel. It was a special wheel. It was a magical wheel. It was the best damn wheel. It's the spinny wheel of songs. Da-da-da-da.
Yay!
Great production, man. That's awesome.
Oh man,
Joseph's gonna put me out of a job.
Let's see it. Yeah, that would have been totally inappropriate at the beginning.
Yeah. No, tell us about what happened.
Yeah.
Oh, we're gonna make him cry again.
I'll have to say I'm a shout out to my boys in Blue October. They have a song called Worry List, and that the gist of that song to me, the way I interpret it is, take me off your worry list because I'm okay now. Yeah, a lot of songs remind me of my mom.
Yeah. What about you, Joseph?
Well, I feel like I've answered this question on the show before, and I gave two. I guess I should have saved one last time I did this. But you know what? I was raised by my mom and my grandma, They're the people that were in my home my whole life. So I'm gonna do a song that reminds me of my grandma. And there's a song she used to sing, and I could not tell you what it's from, but it was something about like I'm forever blowing bubbles. And she would sing this song, and I just have this, I just remember it from when I was real young because my grandma sings real pretty.
That's good.
And I don't know, maybe it was, I want to say Judy Garland sang it.
Could be. My mom would know. Mom, chime in if that's a Judy Garland song.
Or
But
Gabby can research it.
yeah, so mine, they're like for me, there's a ton of them too. But I'll Be There For You by the Pretenders. When I was in Recovery Unplugged as a client, they would have the, hey, guess whose parents sent this song, and that song came on. And I'm just like, yep, that's from my mom. I know it.
Not the Friends theme song.
Not the Friends theme song, no.
Okay.
Which does not remind me of my mom, but it's a damn fine song, damn fine show.
That's the one I thought you were talking about.
No, by the Pretenders. We could, you could check out our Spotify Toxicology playlist. There's a link for it there.
Nice.
Every spinning wheel of songs. Oh, your mom said it's not Judy Garland. Okay.
Not Judy. Okay, she.
Nancy's
My mom
on the K.
My mom is a Judy Garland. She has a wealth of knowledge about Judy Garland.
Well, before we get to wrapping things up, Tony, we got one more thing that was not a thing we did last time you were on here. So get ready for it.
All right.
It's
I'm ready.
rapid fire question time.
It's rapid fire question time.
All right, Tony, we're going to go fast on this one. You ready?
Ready.
All right. How many days do you have sober?
I lost count. I'm close to 60, I think.
Okay.
Somewhere
okay.
around there.
That's pretty close. Dream bromance.
Dream bromance.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I'm a huge Joe Rogan fan.
Joe Rogan?
Joe Rogan fan.
All right.
Shout out to that podcast.
That'd be a good work. Would you go in the ice bath with him after?
Together? Sure. Why not?
Okay. Let's see if we can make that happen. Least favorite song or artist?
Least favorite song is the Friends theme song.
Nice one. Good one, yeah.
Yeah. Good bass line, though. Good bass line.
Yeah. Who was your first crush?
Ooh. I don't know. That's a tough one. I'm 40 years old, so that was a long time ago.
Celebrity crush? Yeah, celebrity crush.
Okay. Who's that supermodel that danced on the cars in the White Snake video?
Tawny Katane.
Tawny Katane. Yeah, we'll go there, man.
You knew that one quick.
Yeah.
And what did you do for Tony today?
For Tony today, I got out there on the golf course and stunk it up as much as possible, but it was good to be in nature and be with good people.
Nice. Are you trying to get out of your comfort zone a little bit more now and doing things a little bit, or is golf a comfort zone for you? I don't know.
Definitely not a comfort zone for me. It's anxiety inducing, but yeah. I'm happy to be able to have time to do these things for myself now. That's a huge major change for me.
Maybe I'll take you skating this weekend, huh? Do some skateboard and see.
Do you have a helmet?
I can get you one.
I'll need it for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, Tony,
longboarding's a little easier.
It is.
I can rollerblade. Is that cool?
Good night, everybody. No, I'm just kidding.
On that note.
Yeah. No, but Tony, this is the part where we just give you the floor. What would you like to say?
The main thing for me is it doesn't matter if you have 6 years sober, 6 months sober. It's important to be mindful of our recoveries every day. My new sponsor asks me every time I talk to him, what did you do for your recovery today? What did you do for your recovery today? And that's something that I ask myself every night before I go to bed. And knowing that I'm going to ask myself that question, I intentionally try to keep recovery at the forefront of my day. So Yeah.
That's for those of you who don't know anything about 12 steps. That's the 10th step, and that's something that you get to work every single day for the rest of your life when you do this recovery thing.
Woo.
All right.
Well, I guess we're wrapping things up. Tony, I got to tell you one more time, like, thank you so much for doing this. I
man.
think this has been a super special episode. And just from what people are saying in the comments, I know it's already doing some good.
Man.
I'm super grateful for you and that you're still alive, and
Absolutely.
for your courage, and I'm proud of you. And so many good feelings right now from me to you.
Yeah.
That means the world to me, man. You guys are like I said, y'all are like family to me, and I just appreciate being able to come on here and share this with you guys.
Yeah, the world needs you, Tony. We're glad that not happy that you went back out, but definitely happy that you made it back, and that you get a chance to start over and make that comeback recovery.
Hey, the best part of the story is the comeback.
Well, thank you everybody for tuning in this week. Don't forget to like, follow, and share with your friends. This will be posted on Apple Podcasts and all that good stuff tomorrow. And as we like to say here on Talksicology, Jason?
There's 1,000 ways in and 1,000 ways out. God damn it. And we hope
Yours.
Choke. You choked on that one.
yoink.
I love you guys. Thank you guys so much.
Love you too, man.
It's been great.